After a little over 4 years, I decided it's time to get back at the Heath parasol. It's the RagWing Heath. And I'm building, as I mentioned in other videos, the stretched wide body version of it. I believe it's the only one. Get this ski off my other plane. And I believe this is the only one that's actually being built this way. So I reached the point where, after spending a week cleaning up the basement just to sort things out and get at her again, I'm at the point where I'm hinging the tail. As you can see, I already get the rudder hinged. I got 2 stainless steel hinges. I'm doing them up the way they do, say, in the plans, with a few little mods. And I cut the elevator wedge out of the tail here, out of the so rudder. I'm hinging the elevator now. I'm just using the same method I did with the fin and rudder. I bought this little contraption here for cutting hinge slots. It's kind of along the, it's kind of sort of the same idea as the Dubro hinge slot, or the Great Plains hinge slot tool, except this blade just, there isn't 2 blades, it's just a single blade running side to side here. And Dremel makes one of these as well. I went with the Mastercraft because this will probably be the only time I use it, and that's cheaper. Variable speed. So as you can see, I got one hinge done already. And what I did was, I got these blocks on the side of the bench. I hung the elevator on the blocks. That's not like it weighs a ton, so I can show you what I did here. There, just like that. I did a few things different. The plans call to put a hinge in the center of the elevator, and then one on in line with this rib here. This is would be in the U.S. This would be a home built category or light sport. So this airplane's going to be, it's longer, wider, and heavier than the prototype. It's actually a little bigger than the original Heath. So I went with the Minimax tail feathers ideas. I combined both Rogers and this. Roger and these guys recommend using a saw blade. I don't like chopping away all that wood. That's not necessary. So I opted with this because this, as you can see, I got tape here marking how deep I got to go to put these hinges in. Roger said to use just steel hinge, piano type hinge. I went with stainless steel. I mean, I don't think there's much of a weight difference, and it's a hell of a lot stronger. And not to mention, I don't have to worry about steel rusting and corroding in the wood. The inside of that wood, I'm probably going to, or I will get in there with the with a brush somehow and get epoxy resin in there. I'm using the whatchamacallit, the West system there. So I got this slot done, and this will show you how I'm doing it. I'm just measuring the center line. So you get an angle where it's not too bright. There we go. You can see my center line. But because of the shape of these hinges and the way the Minimax does it is they're about an inch up from the center. And the reason for that is because of where the actual hinge point on these hinges is. It's actually about 1/8 of an inch. The center of the hinge from the center of this the flat to the actual hinge point is about 1/8 of an inch. And I did that with the rudder as well, and I'm just about spot on with the swings. You're not getting it swinging cockeyed in different directions. The elevator's not so critical because of the fact that it's up and down don't matter, but your rudder, side to side, you want them the same. I want it functioning the same anyway. You can put it in the middle. It'll work fine, but I noticed the Minimax is up a little higher, and that's the reason why. It's actually keeps your contact point and slot is actually above the center line, but it puts your actual pivot point on the center line. That's why they did that. And I not all that keen with just having 3 hinges on this big elevator. This airplane's going to fly a little faster. So I put them out here. And I use the same dimensions on the Minimax. It's because it turns out this stab is 90 inches wide, just like the Minimax. And they went 6 inches from center for this hinge, and then another 25 inches from the outer edge to the outer edge for this hinge. I'm doing that. And it's giving me 4 hinges. Yeah, there's a little weight penalty, but this is Canada. I don't have that weight restriction, so we can build our planes a little stronger. And I'm running I got a Generac conversion from the Backyard Flyer Boys there. I forget the name of them. I'll just stick it up on the screen there. I bought one of their engines. Oof, that's got to be 10 years ago I started this. And I get it tucked under my bench there. I can see all the room I'm going to have for more model airplanes when I get this done. So I probably forgot to mention was this block I made up. It's just a piece of 1/4 inch plywood. I had some scrap laminating strips here from building the rotor elevator and stab. And I just sanded down till I got the right height. It's kind of putting right now to the height that I used on the fin and rotor, which is roughly the same. And I use it to steady this blade. And that's all I'm doing to get this sucker in there straight and flat and at the right height. And it's taking a little bit of a beating, but it's doing well, and it will survive long enough to get all these done. So this is going to be loud as hell. I might play some lovely opera music or something while I'm sawing, or just let you suffer it out. And you can see how that saw works. Yeah, it's pretty slick. And this is your extreme hinge slot tool. And you can see to get it started, of course it's trying to do the dirty boogie all over your guide plate here, is I go in one corner and I just very gently go from side to side. Because if you go straight in, this thing will get caught and the whole machine wants to go side to side on you. So I'm learning as I go, and this has kind of worked well for me. Stop, make sure she's straight, which it is. And using this block, I haven't done a crooked one yet, so. And I keep another blade around. This thing comes with a few blades. Because you reach a point where you got to start cleaning it out. Because you got nowhere for this sawdust to go. It's like even when you're drilling a hole, you got to pull the bit out every now and then to get the stuff out. And I do have to chase it after this, because this blade's not quite a 1/16 of an inch. Just a little on the narrow side. What I do like with this setup, rather than use a table saw blade or screwing around with a drilling and all that stuff, it's quite a bit faster, and then it seems to be very easy just to go in later and make it a little wider, and you get a really nice snug hinge in there. When you hear it do that, what happens is it bites and the whole machine starts going, and I just pull it out because it'll just start making a mess. Grab a hinge and see how we made out. She's snug. I used to have them so snug that I needed the hammer to pull them out, the claw hammer, but just a pretty easy fix. Just gently go up and down, just widen her out a bit. Now, when I drill the holes, I'm going to drill the hinges first. I'm going to get a 30-second, I get some 30-second plywood here. And I'll tape them on or something to give me a little bit of a gap. And then I'll just put the hinge on top like this with the holes already drilled in the metal. We'll clamp them on there, and then I'll drill the through holes in the stab itself later. I haven't done that yet. Kind of one step at a time here. There, that's beautiful, nice and snug, but it's you don't have to pound it in with a hammer. I can adjust it. Perfect. This is a great little rig. I just finished using it to drill 2 holes in the stab, and it's like a little drill press, so you can set different angles and everything. So what I did was I laid the horizontal stabilizer down on the bench. Probably should have videoed it, but you just attach your drill to this little guy, and it's got another chuck on it, as you just saw, and drilled the 2 holes, and they're bang on. Now once you get the holes drilled in here, and I just clamped the vertical fin, as you can see, to the stabilizer, and continued the holes through into the vertical fin, and that keeps everything nice and straight. And I used my table saw here because I got too much aluminum and stuff for the fin to fit, so I just used my table saw to have a nice square surface, because the trailing edges on the fin and stab should be flush. What's there? The other thing is you got to think of, I got to see if there's an AN style blind nut you can put in here, because once you're covered, you're not going to be able to get in there with your wrench to tighten this down. So you got to look into that. But other than that, she's slowly but surely coming along. I got the elevator and the all the hinging done there. I had it assembled. I guess next is I got to drill the holes in all the hinges for the bolts. They say to use screws. I think I'm going to use AN bolts.